seat, popcorn is on me.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Hi, and welcome into Me Being the Movies. This is Thomas Manning. I'm without my co-host Noel Manning today. He's a bit under the weather and dealing with a situation similar to what Sigourney Weaver dealt with in Alien. I won't go into further detail there, but we're sending our well wishes to Noel. We missed him this week, but we do have a very special guest today. We were lucky enough to be joined by Carlos Diahz from Conclave. Even though this was his first feature film role, Carlos holds his own in a cast featuring the likes of Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, and Isabella Rossellini. And this cast won Best Ensemble at the Critics' Choice Awards, as well as the Screen Actors Guild Awards. And, Carlos himself was nominated by the North Carolina Film Critics Association for Best Breakthrough Performance. So if you haven't seen Conclave, I highly encourage you to go do that immediately. It was one of my favorite films of 2024 and one that I'm going to be returning to for the rest of my life. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to the interview here once again as we spend time with Carlos Diahz from Conclave. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Me Being the Movies, and I hope you enjoy. Well, Carlos, it's really great to meet you, and thanks so much for your time. Really excited to be talking about Conclave, which, not just one of my favorite movies of last year, but one of my favorites that I've seen in quite some time. And your performance, your character, it's just so wonderful to be here with you.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. It's very nice to be with you too.
Absolutely. And we'll take it back to the beginning, I guess. I know that it was Nina Gold, who, the legendary casting director working on this film. She's the one who found you. So I'm curious, from your perspective, I'd like to hear your side of the story when this role first came across your radar and, if you can recall your first contact with Nina or how that worked out.
My agent saw the casting call published on, I think, Actors Access, something like that, around early September 2022. So she submitted me, and then they invited me around mid-September, and they sent a couple of scenes, the Saying Grace, the arrival, and Saying Grace in the dining room. Those were the first two scenes. But the contact was not directly with Nina Gold, was with Kathleen Chopin and John Ort in New York. They were in charge of this area, this region of the world, or something like that. They had divided the work like that. So they saw me first, and then they put me in front of Nina Gold. So for the callback, the first callback was on October, also around early October. And I think that one went to Nina Gold directly or something. I really don't know about it, but Kathleen Chopin and John Ort were keeping us with really, really short messages. It's like, everything looks good, just wait. It's like, no news, wait and wait and wait. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, there's a callback and Edward Berger wants to talk to you before you send the next two scenes. And sorry, by that time, they say he wants to talk to you. So I say, okay, well, probably he wants to know more about my background, my approach to the character and so on. They sent me some information about the vision they had for Benitez. And it was a PowerPoint presentation about a French priest who had devoted his life to tend to victims of the Second World War. And he had a hospice for injured and abandoned people, and he worked for them. And he's on his way to sainthood right now. There's a cause for him to become a saint in the Vatican. So that was a vision. I had my own vision too. It's like, okay, I said Benitez is a mix of Saint Ignatius of Loyola, the spiritual but leader and a very structured kind of thinking, and St. Francis of Assisi, like spiritual, the vehicle of God's motherly love instead of the fatherly love, because that's how St. Francis saw God as a mother. So when I talked to Edward Berger, he says, what do you have in mind? And I say, what about this, and St. Francis, St. Ignatius, and the motherly love, and how he sees everyone. And when he talks to Tedesco, is trying to calm down an angry child, a scared child. So that's another thing that I learned long ago in a sales course. It was one of sales courses that they say, "Oh, I learned to sell your services, whatever." But the instructor said, "There's feelings are what drive people. It's not their ideas, it's not the rationale. It's what they feel about something. So you have to be aware how people feel about an idea or your product or whatever." And the two opposite feelings are love, and the opposite is not hate, is fear. So I said, "Oh yeah, so Tedesco is driven by fear, and all the others are also driven by fear, but Benitez is trying to calm down, even with maybe strong words or more like firm ideas and firm words towards Tedesco, and more comforting but also firm with Lawrence, who sees he's he's trouble and he needs some help." So anyways, I told this in broad strokes, I tell this to Edward, and he said, "Okay." And I was like, do you have any idea, any image? Well, what's your take on the character? And he said, "No, never mind. I just wanted to know how you're approaching the character. Run with it." Okay, nice. So then we did the second round of self-tapes. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, they say they want to see you in Rome. You need to audition in front of Nina Gold. And that was when I met Nina Gold the first time in Rome in November the 1st, 2022. So just 2 months before shooting. And that was very interesting. I talked to Nina Gold for an hour before doing the actual audition. And we talked about our family, our background, and where did we study and everything. She was asking me, but I was asking her too. And she's very nice. She's very approachable in that way. I know she doesn't like a lot to be in the spotlight, but she's very open. So she was very friendly, and I took advantage of that to make it more one-on-one and give and take conversation, right? So that put me at ease. When Edward Berger and the producers arrived, I was already calm down and just go to it. And the audition was ran for about 1 hour. Edward Berger was with the camera. My reader was Nina Gold. And it was fun because I saw that Nina was looking at me, like observing me while she was reading. It's my expressions and my emotional swings and swerves around the scene. So that was really fun. It was very interesting. And I noticed that everybody was really, really nice, very welcoming, very approachable, from Tessa Ross, Edward, and Nina. It was really nice. And then Mike Jackman was there too, but he was outside. And I noticed that everybody was friendly. And that put me at ease, and that gave me not the certainty, but more security in myself that yes, I can do this. Yeah, that was wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like Edward Berger really created a very collaborative environment for you and for everyone on set. Yep. I'd love to hear more about that environment that he created and how that was, conducive to your performance and the performances of those around you. What are some things about him as a filmmaker that you noticed that you really tuned into your performance?
The thing is that the first take is always how you feel the character should be. He doesn't give you any direction before you do the first take. So the first take is entirely what you have in mind. So it might be over the top, it might be very demure or whatever you want to approach it, and then they'll give you some direction. And his direction is very, very brief, very concise, and he would say a little bit more energy, and that's all. Or can you do it a little bit faster or a little bit slower? Or more calm, more contained, or things like that. That's all the direction he gives you. And once he has the perfect, beautiful take, it's like, perfect, that was beautiful. let's do one more, and then one more, and one more, and one more, and one more. So the first times I heard that, like, why is he asking for more? If it was beautiful and it was perfect, why is more? But then I understood. He is giving you the chance to play with your lines, to put the emphasis differently. He's very much, he pays a lot of attention on your sight, on your expressions, very subtle expressions of your face. So if you can, instead of saying a line, you can just give a look of disapproval or of compassion, whatever. He prefers that than you saying the line. So sometimes you would do it and say the line and with the view, your eyes, and they would say, okay, now do it again without the line. Okay, fine. Now at the end, after 5, 6 takes or more, so okay, forget about, just throw away the lines, just do whatever you feel, any way you feel it. So have fun, yeah, do it, go ahead, and that's it. So at the end, you don't know exactly which takes he used. You don't remember. There's so many for each angle that, but it's very appreciated that he gives you that liberty. So he may have an image on his mind, but it's not an exactly defined image, and he wants you to fit on that. No, he just wants to find the exact moments that he could say, this works better, this works better. So that's really great. And the environment on the set is the only director that I have ever seen that says, action, please.
I love it.
And yeah, and everything, he was always very, very courteous. He would come to me because I was the new one. He would come to me between takes, or I was in my position. He would come, say, "Are you okay? You need anything?" No, I'm fine. Sometimes I was trying to get into the character and being like intense on my chair, not even on set, but on my chair. And he would approach like, "Are you okay? You need anything?" And like, okay, I was trying to get into the mood, but no, I'm fine, and then go again. And then Mike Jackman could come with and Tessa Ross and all these. It was like, okay, I cannot concentrate, but I appreciate that they take care of me, that they are looking after me. That was really good from everyone. Isabella, John, even Stanley. They were very, very caring about me, and more than anyone, John and Isabella. They were so nice, so loving, and that's why I say they are my new uncle and my new aunt.
That's a pretty good aunt and uncle to have, I think.
Yeah.
I love that.
To the dean of the college to enter.
Thanks for joining us here on Miming the Movies as we chat with Carlos Diahz from Conclave. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick? Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a...
We are here on Miming the Movies talking with Carlos Diahz from Conclave. I will turn it back over to the conversation without further ado. And of course, the production design and the costume design in this film are just beautiful. Recreating the setting of the Vatican and the Sistine Chapel, all of that is so crucial thematically. And I'm interested for you as an actor, how, the robes that you're wearing and then your surroundings in this recreation of the Sistine Chapel, how does that make its way into the DNA of your performance and the decisions you make as an actor?
Well, they say that in Spanish we say, el hábito hace el monje. The habits make the monk, but the habit is also the name for the robes of the monk. So when you wear them, you become that, right? And so, like they say, when you, even at work, you have to dress the part. You want to be a manager, dress like a manager. So when you want to play a cardinal, one thing is you have in mind how the character should be, the voice and the movements and everything. But once you start getting dressed, and it's a long process because we would be wearing all the layers that they use. So it was the everyday clothes, the clerical shirt, and the rings, and then the cassock, like the red cassock, or the red cassock, and then it's called the alba in Spanish or in Italian, the white one, and then the capello, and then the zucchetto and everything, and then the cross. And we had always someone from wardrobe helping us to dress like they actually do. They never dress up on their own. There's always assistant helping them with all the things, all the regalia they have to wear. So that helps you getting into the character and to feel actually literally the way of the rank they hold. So that was very, very, very conducive, very helpful to know and to feel that you have to move certain way. And that's when you realize why they walk the way they walk. When you see the ceremonies on TV, why the cardinals, the bishops, and the pope, and everyone, why they move the way they move, because they cannot move any more differently without the weight of the clothes. And then we go into these fantastic buildings, not just the Sistine Chapel, but those other buildings, the Royal Palace in Caserta and Palazzo Barberini and everything they are not religious buildings, but they look so similar to the things that they have to the buildings in the Vatican that you buy into the whole feeling, into the whole idea. So it's a build up. And once we walked into the set, the light was very dim, always was kind of dim. There was a little bit of smoke in the environment to have some mist around. And to me, it reminded me, I have a lot of my dreams are like that. It's kind of a dim light and a very mysterious, misty environment. So every time I walked into the set, is like falling asleep and walking into Narnia or something like that, into a dreamland, and then get into the character.
Oh man, absolutely, yeah. And there is one particular scene that I really love to discuss, and it's the monologue that you give in front of the group of cardinals, and it's all tied together by your line, quote, "The church is not the past, the church is what we do next." And I really think the entire film hinges on this scene, and had to be perfectly written, directed, and performed in order to have the impact that it does. So are there any specific details of your preparation for that scene that you recall, or any notes from Edward that stood out and really helped you unlock that scene?
Yeah, Edward rarely gives any notes. He just like a little direction, like I said, about your performance. He gives you that freedom. So actually, when I arrived the first day that we shot the scene by the turtle pond and across the garden, he told me, do what you have done. We like what you do. Don't overthink it. Don't overdo it. Just keep doing it. And like, okay, fine. So I had done that scene for the auditions already. So they say, just keep doing it. No pressure in front of 120 people, extras, and these top stars and everything. But what I was... when I saw that scene, I read the script. I looked at other actors, how they approach a role like that. So the one that stuck in my mind was Robert Powell playing Jesus of Nazareth in Franco Sefirelli's production in 1975 or something like that. How he conveys the authority just with his eyes. Again, these deep eyes that he has. And he was capable of conveying authority, compassion, agony, despair, love, everything. So I looked at how he behaved, and this speech brought to me the passage in the Bible where when Jesus kicks out of the temple the merchants from the temple. So he's angry, and he has something, I don't remember, a whip or something in his hand, and he kicks them out. So that's the narrative. So I say, okay, this is pretty much something like that, not exactly, but it's trying to tell people, get all of those ideas out of your head. So he has to be authoritative, but he's also speaking from a place of love, and always keeping in mind that Benitez is very spiritual and is never going to scold someone unnecessarily. He's never going to belittle someone. So when he talks to Tedesco, he's like, okay, what do you know? But it's like, actually, like, what do you know? You live in a palace in Venice. You don't know about war. I've been there. I've seen it. So I know that it's not the way to go. So there are some takes in which the camera is close to me. The discussion is going on, and Benitez is looking and they're like, what the hell are they doing? Like, what's going on? I mean, we are not just adults. We are like leading millions of people. What's wrong with you? And surprised and almost appalled that no one is taking this responsibility of bringing things to peace. So he decides to stand up. So far has been just observing and absorbing what's going on and knowing who's who and where they're standing. But at that point, he has to talk. He has the authority that as a missionary, as an archbishop, as an organizer, he has. And he says, okay, this has to be said and is necessary.
Yeah, because a lot of the discussions in this film felt like extensions of conversations that I have with my friends and my family, my loved ones, discussions of faith and democracy and the importance of empathy for those in pain. And, just all of that reached me very deeply. I guess for you, what was your experience with that? And did you have a similar experience, just feeling like these conversations were ones that you've had in your own life as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. This the brilliance of this the book and the script is that they are a true essay on a true study on human nature. So there's a Tedesco in all of us always when we feel corralled, when we feel blindsided or something like that. It's a natural reaction, right? Because we are humans and we are evolved animals, and we have the reptile instinct or whatever you want to call it. We have all that in all of us. And when I was 19 years old, I had lost faith in God and the church and everything. And then I found it again when I heard John Paul II in Mexico. He visited Mexico. I was living there. And I heard that the sermons were just loaded with a message of social justice. He was denouncing corruption. He was denouncing neglect from governments, from private industry and everything. So you would say, oh my God, this is like a left-wing pope. And John Paul II was not left-wing. He was kind of the center, even a little bit to the right. But he said the things that he thought had to be said in that place. So I said, well, there's something more about religion, about God, that I like how this Pope thinks and what he does. So I said, yes, I'm going to be there. I'm going to become a missionary and change the world. And a priest who had been my professor in high school, he said, okay, take it easy. I know you. I don't think you have the temper to be a priest, but you can help the church and help the people in some other ways. So Benitez reminds me of that time when I wanted to be like that. If I had followed that path, I would have loved to be someone like Benitez. And there are people like Benitez in the College of Cardinals right now. There's missionaries who are cardinals and are right now and will be on the next conclave. that eventually is going to happen. So this is excellent. This is very, very good introduction. And now people maybe is paying more attention to what's going on in the Vatican. But all these discussions about faith, about I have met priests who are very stuck into what the rules are. And all of this, the canon says this, and the law says this, and says that. And there are other priests, usually from the Franciscans, who are more meditative, more philosophical, and they said, like God operates and is everyone for everyone. Doesn't matter how you are. You have to embrace your nature and be happy because God made you like that. So you are what God made you, and that's it. If people don't understand or they don't want to accept a fact of nature, that's their problem. It's not your problem. It's up to them. So you cannot change them, but you can start loving you exactly the way you are. And we're not talking about the nature, let's say the duality of the Benitez. We're talking about many, many things. Saint Ignatius of Loyola, he thought he was not worthy to be a priest or a missionary because he was very, he would get angry really quickly. So that's why his name Ignatius is like the passionate one. And he was like that as a young person. And he was impulsive and aggressive and very worried about how people perceived him. So that drove him to war. He almost died at the battle. And then when he was convalescing from his wounds, he found God, reading the life of St. Francis. And St. Francis went through something similar, reading the life of Jesus. So it's like a chain, okay, that is going on, is happening. So I don't need to go exactly through what they went to, but I can learn from them and see and find out that this is a very constructive way, not just to see myself, but to see the world and see the community that we are as humans at large. So all this is fascinating. When I read the book, it's like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And every time I read it, and every time I see the movie, I have seen the movie like 15 times with all the festivals and presentations. And every time I find a little layer more in a conversation, in a sound or something like that. Like, oh, that's what she means. Or that's what the bird means in the cage. Is the canary in the mine? If the canary dies, run for your lives. But the canary is there. It's chirping, but it's like a sign, like a warning, like things are getting bad. And things like that. So you keep finding all this. It's beautiful. It's very fun too. It's an honor to be part of this project, and it's so fun to see how even us, we can find other levels of meaning.
Most definitely. Well, Carlos, I can't thank you enough for your time today. It really has been a privilege to share a conversation with you, and looking forward to seeing what's next for you. And hopefully we have more conversations about whatever other films you got coming up. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, thanks again to everyone for tuning in this week on Meet Me in the Movies for this wonderful conversation we had with Carlos Diahz from Conclave. And Carlos is someone that I hope we see in many more roles in years to come. For someone just stepping up to the plate and delivering a performance like that in his first major feature film, it's unbelievable. So and I thank him for everything he shared in this conversation, and would love to have him back on the show sometime soon. Until next time on Meet Me in the Movies, I'm Thomas Manning, and we'll see you guys later.
Many films to view till we meet again.